Hi guys, welcome to Tristen movie review. Today we'll be talking about something a little bit out of the normal for me. Board games. One of my personal favorite things in the entire world and my favorite form of entertainment. What I'm figuring I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little bit of a review where I will set up the board game, show you how to play a little bit of it, and then I'll give you a review of how I thought it was fun. Shall we? The game in specific we'll be reviewing today is the Universal Monsters board game Horrified. Horrified I got recently for a Christmas present, and I will say it is absolutely an amazing game. One of my favorite games of all time. It definitely breaks the top 3. So, let's get into how to set it up. Alright. So, first things first is we gotta establish how difficult we want to actually make the game. So if you scroll here, you can look in the difficulty settings. You can do a novice game, a standard game, or a challenging game. So a novice is any 2 monsters, a standard is any 3, and a challenging one is any 4. Today I'm going to show you how to set up a standard game of Horrified. Something really neat about this game is it includes this little bit right here of we feel it would be a little unkind to present the game without just a word of friendly warning. You're about to unfold one of the strangest tales ever told. We think it will thrill you, it may shock you, it may even horrify you. So, if any of you feel that you do not care for the subject, you're nervous to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you. We're unfolding the board, and it's a good sized board, honestly. So, right here in specific, you can see there's a horror tracker. That's the thing that shows how much horror has gone through the town. That happens when like villagers or heroes die in the game. But we'll get into that later. What we want to do is we want to select 3 of these monsters that will be plaguing the town. So there is a grand selection of 6 monsters. We have Dracula, the Wolfman, the Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy, and the Invisible Man. So today I'm going to show you how to set up for Dracula. I'll also show you how to set up for the Mummy and the Invisible Man. Alright, the first character I want to start with is Dracula. Dracula, every monster has a back section here that tells you how to set it up for every monster. So Dracula, first thing you have to do is you have to take his coffin tokens from the monster bag. Let me just do that right quick. So, the goal for Dracula, every monster has a 2-phase setup. So, the first thing you have to do for Dracula is you have to kill and destroy all of his coffins. We have to put 1 in the cave of his coffins. We have to put 1 in the dungeon, 1 in the institute, and 1 in, oh wait, no, not the institute, what am I talking about? 1 in the graveyard and 1 in the crypt. And those are the 4 locations that you have to go to and use red items to destroy these 4 coffins with a strength greater than 6. And that's how you complete step 1 of Dracula. Dracula also starts in the crypt. So you put his little marker, you can see that right there, little detailed miniature. You can put that right there at the crypt. And that's where Dracula starts his turn. Next thing that you want to do after you've destroyed all the tokens are also double-sided. So there's the destroyed side that you put onto the marker that fits the setting. So, after you've destroyed all his coffins, you want to be the first player to get to Dracula and use a holy item, which is the yellow items. And you want to use those to defeat him with a strength of 6 or higher. Next up is the Invisible Man. The Invisible Man is a pretty simple one, honestly. All you have to do is you have to grab 1 item of any color from either the inn, well, you have to get from 1 from each location. So you have to get 1 from the inn, the barn, the institute, the laboratory, and the mansion. And once you get 1 from each of those locations, then you get to destroy the Invisible Man with a red item, with red items of 9 or greater strength. How you set up for the Invisible Man is you take the precinct marker, which is in the box right now. You take the precinct marker, this token right here, and you put it over the precinct. That's where you have to go to complete the Invisible Man's ability. The first one of the Invisible Man. Then you take the Invisible Man's miniature and put it at the inn. And that's that for how you set up the Invisible Man. So for the mummy, it's a little bit different. There are scarab tokens that are labeled 1 through 6. Basically what you have to do is you randomly apply the scarab tokens face up onto the board here. So I'm not looking at what ones I'm placing down, I simply just am placing them. And basically you have to get to the museum to destroy the mummy. So we have to take the museum marker and place it directly over the museum, like so. Then we put the mummy at his starting location, which is the actual museum, ironic enough. So that's how you set it up for the mummy. But the mummy's a little different on the other hand, like I mentioned. You have to use the yellow items on him at the museum to move the scarab tokens around. Once all the scarab tokens are back in their corresponding places, then you've completed the first phase and you can defeat him with a weapon of 9 or higher strength. So now that we've completed the monster setup phase, now what we must do is we must select our characters. So today I'm also going to be setting up for a 3-player game. So today the professor, archaeologist, and the explorer will be playing the game today. Essentially, each player picks out their character and then they place their corresponding character figurine where their starting position is. So, as you can see here on the archaeologist, he says starting position, the docks. So, he gets placed at the docks. The professor, the real one this time, goes to the hospital. The explorer goes to camp. Next, we're gonna go over item spawning. Basically shake up your big bag of item tokens and put 12 random items on the board. In the camp, 1 in the museum, 1 at the precinct, 1 at the institute, camp, church, barn, and the inn. At the docks there's a knife, and then we got another barn weapon. At the mansion there is a mirrored box. Put the Horrified marker, which is this fancy little skull right there, onto 0 of the horror tracker. And you have to put the first monster token onto the monster with the lowest number on the flame token. One last thing I forgot to mention is you also have to deal 1 of each of these hand card items. Those are cards that the people personally get. You also can deal 1 of these player reference sheets. So, now that we've started off with the game and how to set it up properly, let us get into how to actually play the game and do it properly to defeat these monsters and end this reign of tyranny that they have once and for all. Now, the first action that I'm going to take today is for the archaeologist. So his ability is pick up items from an adjacent space. So if he's right here, let's say he's at the tower, he can pick up stuff from the docks essentially. But he's already at the dock, so you might as well pick that up in the first turn. Let's flip this over to the player section of this. So more or less, the hero phase consists of you being able to do as many actions as permitted by the number up here under the actions word. The actions you can do are move. You get to move your person 1 space. If you're in the same location with like a townsperson, you can take that townsperson with you, but you can move a person that you're adjacent to, like a townsperson that you're adjacent to, into another space. You can pick up any number of items and use those to your advantage later in the game, or you can share items between you and another hero that's in your space. There's also the advance action, which is one of these for like if you want to destroy Dracula's coffin or move the tracker there, or you have an item to place for the Invisible Man. Then there's also the defeat action, which is when you get into defeating the actual characters rather than advancing the stage to get to defeating them. And then there's also your special action, which as mentioned, his is picking up an item from any adjacent space. there's also these white cards that can help you out immensely. So the current player takes 2 additional actions. That's useful later. These cards you get by getting survivors to their safe location. Alright, so the archaeologist, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 1 card with him, then move him to the tower, and move him here. So that's 3 actions that I've taken so far, and here. But before I do that, I'm going to play this card as well that gives me 2 additional actions. So I'm going to pick up these other weapons, move down, and then that will be the end of my turn. Every character on their turn, they do their hero phase and then they do the monster phase, where they draw 1 of the monster cards. So fancily labeled by these nice feet on the cards. We've drawn the first card and it says there's 3 different things you have to break down here. It's how many items get played, what the ability is. It shows a symbol of what monster it is, has the ability. And then down here it shows 3 symbols of what monsters activate this turn, how much they move and how much they attack. So let's get into that. First, you gotta place the 2 items necessary. So 1 item goes to the Institute and the other item goes to the barn. After you've done that, then you go through and complete the ability on the card. So this card is Thief. Place the Invisible Man at the location with the most items, discard all items there. If there's anything like a tie or deciding where a monster goes, that's always up to the player that draws the card. So we're going to move the Invisible Man to, well, we have to move him to the camp because that has the most items. So unfortunately the Explorer is in harm's way, but the Invisible Man does not activate. The only monster that actually activates is Anubis. So Anubis, also known as the Mummy, moves 1 space towards the nearest survivor. Alright, let's go for the hypothetical that the Invisible Man did actually attack the girl this turn. So he would roll 2 dice, let's say, and on a result, there are 3 sides on the die for results. There's an attack symbol, there's the exclamation mark, which is the Invisible Man's special ability, and then there's the blank side. So if there was an attack, she would die, unless she had an item that she could discard. So say she had this pitchfork, for example. So she plays the pitchfork and then she survives that 1 attack. But if the other dice was, say, the exclamation point, for example, then the Invisible Man's special ability would, take effect, which is move 2 spaces towards the closest villager. But since he's already right next to, he wouldn't do that nor activate this turn. And that's how monster attacks work. So basically that's how the game continues. You go through a series of rounds like that. Every player does their 2 phases of their player phase and the monster phase. Things escalate, survivors and townspeople come in that walk around the town that you have to guide. It's a really fun game. It is my 2nd favorite game of all time, to be exact. And I'm pretty sure this is where I'm going to end today's video, because this is just such a high note. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I really have been wanting to do this for a long time with board games and stuff like that, and things that I personally really enjoy, especially when it comes to Universal Monsters, which is my favorite genre of monster movie and stuff like that. So thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you guys have a good night, and in the next one, bye bye.